Thank y'all for watching our very weird movie.
Oh, good. And I don't have a chair, so that's good.
Wow.
No,
Dude,
I'm
did I
kidding.
really just take
Good.
a chair?
Quite a few chairs.
Evan, this idea started with an idea with you and Keith, right? Can you guys kind of tell? So why was this I'm sure you guys get a lot of ideas. Why was this an idea that you guys felt you could run with?
Well, I could kind of start on my end. Like, basically, I used to be a part of this group called Shreveport Cartoonist Society, and every month they talk about cartoons, but a lot of the same members were also part of this local ghost hunting group. And every single meeting, everyone would just talk about the insane stuff that was going on in the ghost hunting group, and it's like the most dysfunctional ghost hunting group, where they would just fight all the time. They never actually did anything. And I just thought that was so interesting, you know, like this group of people who just drink and fight and argue. And I thought that would be a really cool idea for something. And it just kind of manifested from there, and it's taken a lot of different forms over the last 7-8 years. But yeah.
It started as a web series that we almost got going. We did a pilot, and then we got caught up doing our first film, Getting Outer Space. And then we kind of circled back around. I guess it was about 2 years ago now, that we wanted to do another feature. And for whatever reason, I decided this old idea of Keys was going to be easy. And we could do it really quick, and there were just a couple people.
It was not.
And here we are 2 years later. So
It always seems like it's going to be easy until you start doing it.
Yeah, and many of you have been working together a lot for a long time. Can you guys hear me? Yeah, sorry, it's past the mic day. But you've been working together, some of you have been working together a long time. I know you two have been working together a long time. I know you guys have been working a long time.
Kimmer since kindergarten.
Since kindergarten?
I'm so sorry about that, by the way.
So, why do you guys, everybody here is Moviesauce, and I still can't explain Moviesauce, and I'm not going to try. But why do you think this is something that just kind of works with the group and works with your creative process?
I think I speak probably for myself and my angle, but I think we're all in such a strange part of our lives where we haven't quite figured out where we're going yet, and we have just enough spare time to make a film and do it pretty much for free. And just enough to squeeze out, and we're all incredibly ambitious on top of it. So I think we just in this really lucky spot, and being in Shreveport. We couldn't do this in New York City. They wouldn't let us. Nobody would.
It'd be a 30-second short. Yeah. So Erica, you produce, and I think it's very curious that the last line that we get, "Nobody is harmed or paid." Is that correct? So how do you produce a film where nobody gets harmed or paid?
It's very complicated, but mainly we shot nights and weekends. We worked around everybody's schedules, and I think our budget was about $1,500. Most of it came out of my pocket, and everybody else's on the crew. Okay, it was low though, extremely low. Thanks, Kimmer. The celebrity is already against his head.
I set a time for the running time.
I think there's a demon in your phone.
Kimmer.
I think just having everybody in the community they stepped up, and I just love how everybody was such a team player. We couldn't do it without all these people, all the people we shot at their homes and their locations, and all the actors. You're shooting in the middle of winter. Sometimes we threw them out in the middle of the woods. Like, for people to do that for free in the middle of the night, whenever they have to go to work the next day, yeah, that was pretty tough. So we couldn't do it without the community of Shreveport, for sure.
And there's probably not much difference between us sitting down here and you guys in the audience. If you're all here to watch something and support something like this, you're the kind of people that we would make a movie like this with.
Well said, sir.
I also want to speak to the fact of how insane it is that this is the biggest cast and crew we've ever worked with, and it's very nuts that this many people read this script and are like, yeah, I'll help. Like Dennis, willing to be there without his shirt on, act like the creepiest guy you've ever met with his doll collection. He owned that role. Every single person in this movie gets humiliated. Like, I'm even wearing eyeliner in it. Like, yeah.
He's hit on me twice since we've been here.
There we go.
He's a method actor.
Watch out.
So that's what he does.
So it's very humbling when you come up with, like, Keith and I we're literally writing down the most insane things we can come up with. We're gonna run into furries in the woods, like, I have no idea how we're gonna do this. And that people, yeah, the bikini that Lorna wears, I mean, that takes some guts to do that. So.
And before I turn it over to the audience, maybe we can do it this way. Kemerton, I mean, he comes to you with ideas like this, and you come to him with ideas, and you guys all come. So this is a normal thing to you. When he came to you with this one, I'm curious, like, what's kind of the thought? It's like, oh,
Kimmer will do anything I tell
right.
him to do.
But Mitch would be different. Mitch was probably the first time you've worked with him on film, right? So I mean, what is it like to kind of come into this process? Both of you guys.
Yeah, it's. Well, no, really, you should go.
Well,
And go.
better I don't follow someone else. Yeah, Evan, when he has an idea, I say, okay. And then I pretty much kind of jump into it. And he told me what it was. And I know Keith and I know Evan. And I thought, sure, why not? There aren't many other people offering me things to do. But also, it wasn't super complicated. It was something I could do. And Evan essentially writes for a character that's not super unlike myself. I'm not playing, Davy Crockett or anything. I'm just playing a version of myself. And yeah, I was actually living elsewhere when we filmed it, and I kind of flew in intervals and filmed it. And I don't know, I trust Evan and Keith and Danny and everyone else who makes stuff, and I know it'll be a good time if nothing else, because I've worked with them on stuff before. And
So do you identify with kind of what Danny says? I mean, you're kind of at this weird point in your life, and maybe in some way there's kind of a mirror. I know you could sometimes read too much into fiction, but there's kind of a mirror story going on. It's like you have characters who are kind of like, I'm gonna get, you're the classic, I'm gonna get the office job, and it doesn't look so great there.
Oh, absolutely. I've been there, and I've taken the office job, and I think I've been fired from it as well. So I relate very well to that, and I'm still in that phase. But no, I mean, I do, and I think that kind of hit home for all of us when we were making it. So that just made it that easier to adjust to and kind of respond to, and that's the way it went. So yeah.
On my end, we actually did one before, a short film. If you haven't seen it, Clowns and Robbers, amazing. Make sure you look it up, Moviesauce.com, and away you go for Clowns and Robbers. So we did that together, and I had absolutely no experience, and still have very little. But I think for me, it was that they're all young and beautiful, and I'm old and willing to play. So
Mitch is our token old guy because
I'm
they don't want our
token
movies
old
to just
guy.
be all these young 20-somethings.
And they inspire me every day, and I'm just so happy to be a part of it. And they're amazing, and you will see so much more from them and us or what have you. So that's really my very short story right there. It's been a blast.
Didn't you say you had to make a movie about something that you had to feel passionate about, so it had to relate?
Yeah, I mean, part of this, it's starting with Keith's idea of doing these ridiculous people, and that's fun, and we can come up with infinite ideas of things that they could investigate, and that would be just insane. But then you're making a feature-length film, and it's like, well, it can't just be funny for 90 minutes. You have to kind of, how do you sympathize with these characters? And we're like, well, how are we going to sympathize with these wackos? So we kind of design them around ourselves. And if you think about it, if you kind of interchange ghost hunting with filmmaking, they're kind of versions of ourselves. They're struggling to figure out how to make money doing it, following their passion. There's, so the things that we worry about, we try to kind of put into these people too. And as sad as that is to say that we can relate to these guys, it's what it is.
Yeah, Danny and myself. Sure.
We're a nonprofit. We don't have enough mics.
Well, sorry. You have enough for me to have a mic. I'm sorry about that as well. But I would say even my character and Danny's character are pretty similar between our interactions. Sometimes look at Danny like, what the hell are you talking about? But he always has an interesting point of view, and that helps as well because we've known each other for a long time. So.
You yourself have a. Whoa. Microphone collision.
Too many mics.
Yeah, I totally lost my train of thought, but I think you were saying something on the lines of, we're not too far from our characters.
Absolutely.
We're both pretty awkward, weird people, so
Yes.
Kimmer has an amazing ability to just say random things. I think he has some powerful, amazing skill. Anyways, tangent.
Yeah, and sometimes I kind of feel like as a group, we're in such an awkward place that we have to kind of pull it back a little. Because there are things like, it'll be dead silent for a joke there, and I'm laughing. I'm like, oh my God. But it's like, wait, people aren't ready. That's too much. It's too awkward. Dial it back.
I also want to say the movie was much weirder. Actually, the original draft, it's kind of become more and more normal.
Yeah, that's our normal.
So yeah, I'll just leave it at that.
Okay, so last, this is actually a serious question. I would assume possible believer in ghosts. Yes, he said he's not. He confessed that in the. So who else is a believer?
I'm kind of the gray area.
You're the
guy.
gray area?
Yeah.
I think I believe in some residual energies,
Thank
maybe.
you.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
What's the deal? I'm the only one?
Yeah, and who? And you have to go on the record.
I don't believe in ghosts, but I think it would be amazing if there were ghosts, because that would imply there's so much more I don't know. But, yeah. I know everything. Yeah, I know. I led myself into that. That was... Damn it.
I'm just going to go ahead and say Kemmer believes in ghosts because I believe that he believed in the demon and the copier.
That's acting.
But I think the point is that you take a comedic subject and you could take it farce and you could just go over the top, but you do ground it in some realism. You do believe that there's a story there. So I think it's kind of cool that you're able to take, a subject matter like that and approach it with kind of a tongue-in-cheek sincerity. There's kind of this strange tension going on where, because you get to the last scene and you're kind of like, oh wait, something shifted, and it's like, oh yeah, they actually believe in ghosts, And I think that's kind of neat. So I mean, could you talk about that balance that you have to tonally to kind of make that?
Yeah, that was kind of the fun of it. What we decided was that we would kind of pull the audience along, kind of pretending like the movie didn't believe in ghosts the whole time, and it was all silly. And then it turns out that it all was really happening, and Adam was actually doing everything pretty much right. He summoned the dog and everything with the Ouija. He's just really bad with people. So it's kind of a self-fulfilled prophecy in a way.
I'm a huge Ghostbusters fan. When I was a kid, I outgrew the child-sized Ghostbusters jumpsuit. So my mother, she's here, had one custom made that I could wear around until I was, 14 or 15, a reasonable age. But no, she did have one until I was like 10.
I actually
I don't know who that woman is.
I'm
kidding, it's my sister. But I'm a huge Ghostbusters fan. So, you pull from that, and they completely make it work, even though, I don't necessarily believe in ghosts. That works, and I don't know. That's one of my favorite films. So
yeah, and Ghostbusters, I kind of tell people this is Ghostbusters if it's not New York City and the world's not ending and it's just like a couple guys in a small town. But I actually remembered after kind of finishing the film, I had like a memory. I remembered like as a kid, like when I was, I don't know, like 4 or 5, and my dad would bring me to his office on the weekends, and I'd have my like proton pack, and I would go ghost hunt around the office, and I completely forgot about this. So I was watching the movie one day, and it like came back. I was like, oh, that's where that came from. So the Ghostbusters is very, very much in the heart of some of this. So.
Do you have any questions? Yeah.
Yeah. So I have 1,000, but so I'll start with this. First of all, I would love to do. I know I talked to Mitch at the bar, and y'all doing
At the bar, thank you.
Another projects, and after this. But what I want to know is specifically, Evan, what do you do? So, say you're casting for your next project, whatever it be. You submit a resume, headshot. What do you look for? Obviously, it's different for each role. But
Sure.
Are you looking for when they come in to read? What do you focus on? Who do you bring in? Do you bring in the writers, production assistants? What have you?
Well, the fun fact about this movie is this is the first movie I ever even did auditions on. Like, normally I don't even I'm just like, who's somebody I know? Like I just pull from people I know. I kind of write it for them because we like this movie is made for like $3,000. We know we can't pay people, and I don't want to like insult like real actors and be like, oh hey, will you not get paid to do what you do?
What?
Sorry guys.
Insulted now.
But no, I guess it's sort of ingrained in us that we pull from what's around us. So Erica kind of forced me to do auditions. I'm glad she did because we filled out our supporting cast with some awesome people I'd never met. Like Dennis, he came in at the last minute, I think. Like we had a guy and then he dropped out and then she knew you and it was like, okay, throw anybody that will take this role. Okay.
Right.
So he came in and he nailed it. So like a lot of it's just kind of happenstance.
There's a lot of hidden talent.
But resumes and stuff go through her and she gets it to me because she was the one that made me do auditions and kind of break outside my bubble and start looking at faces.
I have experience in the real film industry.
That too.
So I've tried to bring a little bit of that into our indie bubble that we do here, just to streamline it. I'm very perfectionist, and I couldn't just take whoever was off the street and try to make them fit for the role. I want to get the right person for the role, and I mean, there were so many people that stepped up to the plate that I had I've never met before, and so auditions, we're definitely doing them for our next film, for sure.
I'm sort of in a place, too, where I feel like, I guess I'm embarrassed for the people I haven't even met to be in the roles. I don't want to act, I write the stupidest roles for people. So it's I don't know, I'm like, oh, hey, person I've never met, would you be interested, Yeah. I guess it's still sort of a shock to me that anybody would want to be in our movies.
But we have so much talent here. That's the one thing I've always, ever since I moved to Shreveport, between, acting and production design and costumes and makeup and hair, we have so much talent here, and a lot of people don't get the opportunity to work in the film industry, and I love that we're able to do these little productions and keep people, working and inspired and learning, and that's one of my biggest passions about this, too.
Other question? Yeah, in the back. Okay, so we've seen Getting Out of Space, we've seen Paranormals, great movie, but and I saw that you're basically saying you're limited on cast and crew and all that, but what's your next limiting factor? Because realistically speaking, you did this on a very low budget. You have decent actors, and you're getting in the film festival. So what's your next limiting factor?
It's scale. Everything you can dream a little bigger and everything as you get more money. And I haven't gotten to a point yet where I am comfortable asking for a lot of people's money, because I mean, even I'm very proud of this movie, but I'm not sure it's really going to make any money. So I would hate to turn to an investor having made this and be like, oh yeah, so sorry,
You made back like a sixth of it tonight.
Yeah, we're doing all right. Which is part of why we keep it small. So it's kind of circular in that way. It's I'd love to do like $100,000 film, because if we can do this for $3 million, we could do pretty good. But we I guess I try to keep my expectations low. Everything we try to do, it's like, I kind of tell myself, if I was to start shooting this tomorrow, what would it be? Okay, go. And that's almost the only way I can make it happen, because I start thinking about, okay, well, I need to raise this much money, talk to these people. I'm going to get lost in that. And
I'd like to touch on that. There's never going to be a good time to make a film if you're in our situation. So if you're an independent filmmaker, just go for it. There's always going to be something. We were, having a wedding, and we were moving and building a house. There's never a good time. But just force yourself to do it. And, sure, there's going to be things you're going to look back on and wish they were different or wish you had more money, but just keep pursuing it. And I think, if we just keep making them, something one day will happen.
Ask and it's given. You gotta ask.
I appreciate that. Let me get your card. Or
If that was true, Donald Trump would be president.
True.
Watching this, I saw a lot of what I would call Coen brother moments.
Wow.
At all influenced by the Coen brothers.
We definitely like the Coen brothers. I don't put myself in the same sentence as that, but I'm flattered.
I mean, absolutely. I mean, I love the Coen
Yeah,
brothers,
I mean,
but
yeah,
I would
Coen
not
brothers,
compare
yeah,
mine.
yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
no.
this is we did kind of think of Big Lebowski several times writing this. It's that's kind of a crazy misadventure with these wacko characters. We're kind of this is sort of in a similar vein.
We're trying really hard. Your taste is so high, and then when you make something, it's so hard to match your taste. It's infuriating. It's how long can you keep doing it until you eventually start to get there?
But there's also a ton of creative freedom you have when you don't have money. There really is.
Yes.
You don't answer to anybody. And
Yeah,
I think
and that's I'm saying, the next step for this is okay, well, I could just put it up on YouTube, because I don't have to answer to anybody, and just see what happens. So it's do we try to put it on Netflix? I mean, how much do you want to fight the battle of trying to release a film in 2015 when everything's changing? And it's kind of nice now. It's kind of sucked when you're in pre-production and you don't have anything to make the movie with, but afterwards it's kind of we can move on, and we've learned a lot, and it's like it's.
Questions later, basically.
Yes.
Whose idea was it for the, bikini?
Well, that was actually.
That was actually my girlfriend Renee's idea. She's back there in the pink shirt.
Right there.
She's being really shy right now.
And that was really fun to
Give her a round of
too.
But yeah, that was
applause, everybody.
And makeup, right? Makeup.
that was one of my favorite ideas. I don't remember what conversation we were having when it came up, but
And it's fun. It's fun because it's one thing when that's on the page, but then it's like we're in okay, we gotta actually make this bikini. What does
Yeah.
it look like? I've kind of got a graphic design background, so I kind of had a fun okay, eyes on the boobs, mouth. It's just plain ghost boo on the butt.
If we make any money from this movie, it's probably from bikini sales.
Yeah, we're like we should have copyrighted the bikini.
Thank you.
All right, one more question. Yeah.
Walker.
Can I ask about the film festivals, if they're all?
We premiered it at the Kansas City Film Festival in April, and we're holding out for hopefully a screening at the New Orleans Film Festival in October. We've played there a couple times, so we're hoping we'll get in with this one.
Hey, real fast. A young man that was in the opening
Walker.
sequence, Walker, he's got a question, and he's got to put it out there.
It's a real blast working with you guys.
Yeah, you were only there for one day too.
Walker, thanks for working with us, buddy.
Happy to have you, man.
All right, everybody, let's give them a round of applause. And questions.
We'll be outside too.
It was such a warm feeling having you all here. Thank
Yeah,
you so
we really
much.
appreciate you guys coming
It's so
out.
nice to know we're not alone.
Yes. Good night to end on.